Before the city wakes, there is a moment, a single breath between darkness and light, when New York belongs entirely to itself. The first rays of sunrise break across the Manhattan skyline, painting the Empire State Building, One World Trade Center, and the Chrysler Building in shades of amber and gold. Aerial drone footage sweeps low over the Hudson River, catching the reflections of skyscrapers shimmering on the water's surface. The Brooklyn Bridge stretches gracefully across the East River as early morning commuters begin crossing. The Statue of Liberty stands silent and powerful in the harbor, torch raised against a sky turning from deep violet to brilliant orange. This is New York City, one of the most electrifying, layered, and unforgettable travel destinations on the planet. Over the next 10 minutes, we are going to move through its iconic landmarks, vibrant neighborhoods, extraordinary food, rich culture, and the kind of experiences that stay with you long after you leave. From above the Hudson River, Manhattan reveals itself in full cinematic scale. Drone footage glides over the water as tugboats and ferries cut through the morning current below. Skyscrapers catch the rising sun, their glass facades turning into mirrors of light. Traffic begins to pulse through the grid of streets far below. Yellow taxis, delivery trucks, cyclists weaving through intersections. The Empire State Building rises above Midtown with quiet authority, its Art Deco crown unmistakable against the sky. One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, stands at the southern tip of the island as a symbol of resilience and ambition. The Chrysler Building glints with its iconic stainless steel eagle gargoyles. From every angle, Manhattan communicates something rare. A city built entirely on human determination, creativity, and relentless forward momentum. The transition from the skyline into Times Square feels like stepping from one world into another. Massive digital billboards tower over Broadway and 7th Avenue, cycling through advertisements in vivid color. During the day, the square buzzes with tourists, office workers, street performers dressed in elaborate costumes, and the constant movement of yellow taxis navigating the intersection. Wide-angle shots capture the overwhelming visual energy of the place, while close-up street footage brings you into the crowd. The smell of roasted nuts from a street cart, the sound of a saxophone player performing near the TKTS steps, the laughter of visitors taking photographs. At night, Times Square transforms completely. The billboards intensify, casting the entire block in shifting neon light. Pedestrians move through the glow, their faces lit in blue, red, and gold. There is nowhere else on Earth quite like this intersection, chaotic, beautiful, and completely alive. Just blocks from the noise of Times Square, Central Park offers something entirely different. 840 acres of green space sit at the heart of Manhattan like a carefully placed exhale. Walking paths wind beneath canopies of oak and elm trees. Cyclists move along the loop road while joggers pass in the opposite direction. A horse-drawn carriage rolls slowly along a shaded lane near the southern entrance. Families gather around the Bethesda fountain, children running toward the water's edge. The Bow Bridge arches gracefully over the lake, its reflection perfectly still in the early morning calm. From the Great Lawn, the Midtown skyline rises above the tree line, a reminder that the city is always present, even here. The music softens, the pacing slows. Central Park is proof that New York City understands the value of stillness just as much as it understands the value of speed. A ferry departs from Battery Park, cutting through the harbor toward Liberty Island. The Statue of Liberty grows larger with every passing minute, her copper-green surface detailed and weathered by over a century of Atlantic wind. Visitors lean against the railing, Manhattan's skyline shrinking behind them as the statue fills the frame. The torch, the crown, the flowing robes, every detail speaks to the weight of what this monument represents. Back on the mainland, the Brooklyn Bridge commands its own kind of reverence. Walking across it during golden hour, the The stone towers rise overhead, while suspension cables fan outward in geometric precision. Cyclists pass on the dedicated lane. Below, the East River catches the last light of the afternoon. From the pedestrian walkway, Lower Manhattan spreads out in panoramic view, a skyline that has defined the imagination of travelers for generations. As the sun drops below the horizon, the bridge illuminates against the darkening city sky. New York's neighborhoods each carry their own distinct identity, and moving between them feels like traveling through entirely different cities within the same one. In Soho, cast iron buildings line cobblestone streets where boutique shops and art galleries occupy ground floors. Greenwich Village offers tree-lined blocks, jazz bars, and the kind of quiet charm that makes you want to slow down and stay. Chinatown pulses with color and sound. Hanging lanterns, open-air markets, the smell of roasting duck drifting from restaurant kitchens. Little Italy sits just steps away, its red, white, and green flags strung between buildings above sidewalk cafe tables. The Upper West Side moves at a more relaxed pace, with brownstone townhouses and neighborhood restaurants that feel genuinely local. Then comes the food. A hand stretches a circle of pizza dough in a midtown kitchen before sliding it into a wood-fired oven. Steam rises from a freshly toasted everything bagel loaded with cream cheese. A pastrami sandwich at a classic delicatessen arrives stacked impossibly high on rye bread. New York cheesecake, dense and perfectly smooth, sits on a white plate in a diner booth. Street vendors hand over warm pretzels and hot dogs to passing crowds. Every bite in this city carries a story. Broadway theater marquees glow along West 44th Street as theatergoers dressed for the evening move toward entrance doors. Inside, orchestras tune their instruments while the curtain waits. The Metropolitan Museum of Art draws visitors through its Great Hall, where natural light pours through arched windows onto ancient artifacts and modern canvases alike. In a Greenwich Village jazz club, a quartet plays to a full room, the trumpet cutting cleanly through the low hum of conversation. Street musicians perform in subway stations, their music echoing through tiled corridors. As night fully settles over Manhattan, the city does not dim, it intensifies. Skyscrapers become towers of light. Times Square reaches its most spectacular form. Rooftop bars fill with people looking out over a glowing grid that stretches in every direction. Rain-slicked streets reflect the colors of traffic lights and neon signs. A final aerial shot pulls back from Midtown, rising slowly until all of Manhattan is visible. Every bridge, every borough, every light burning against the dark. New York City is more than a collection of famous landmarks. It is a living, breathing force. A place where energy, culture, history, extraordinary food, and human ambition combine into something that makes every single visit feel completely different from the last. New York City, the city that never sleeps. Like, subscribe, keep exploring.